inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in you, cause real women don't bitch, no. Real women don't, 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 real women don't bitch.
Hey, thank you for joining me on the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. This is your proud host, August Crenshaw, aka Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. I am the #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs because building mental muscle is necessary in order to implement successful business strategies. This show has been created for the woman who is not excuse-driven and needs help building a profitable business. I will be interviewing women from various fields who are willing to break the silence on struggles that specifically affect female entrepreneurs. Welcome to a show where I and guest speakers from time to time share our methods that help us beast our business no matter what is going on in our lives. Whether you are an online or brick and mortar business owner, this show is for you. We will hit every angle, personal, professional, and spiritual. Why? Because on any given day, you get hit with shit from a scenario involving one, more, or perhaps all of the above. It all impacts you and your mindset towards your business. I have made it my personal mission to provide a space where we dive deep into the BS we face on a day-to-day basis. Hey, how are you guys doing out there? I am in a really pensive state. I want to talk about something that's uncomfortable, something that I honestly believe is avoided in the entrepreneurial space. And that's the conversations about when it gets dark, when it gets really, really difficult to press forward while you are building your dream. And I'm bringing this up because you guys already know, I understand everybody is not going to have this, oh my God, I had to be homeless, eating out of trash can level experience. And then they turn into some Tyler Perry dude, or something like that. I understand everybody's story. It doesn't start the same way. But I do have a problem with individuals who speak the woo-woo over situations like there still isn't some level of trials or confrontation. There aren't any kind of challenges that you won't have to overcome. And trust me, I get it. I understand elevating to a higher level of consciousness and thought where you're able to navigate those things more appropriately. But the average person, let's just be real, the average person has been psychologically duped since you got on this planet. You have had religious traditions thrown down your throat. You have had systematic processes sent down your brain from schools and other types of learning institutions. And being you, understanding who you are at the core of yourself, all of this stuff comes out, unfortunately, on the path of entrepreneurship. And all of a sudden, you're supposed to stop people pleasing. And all of a sudden, you're supposed to see that you are this great thing when for so long you've been in a state of mediocrity. If you will just do what everyone else is doing, faithfully go to church every Sunday, join some form of auxiliary, volunteer at the church, help out with some children. If you will just do these things, get good grades, graduate, go to college, get the ideal job, meet the love of your life, have children, settle down, aspire to have good credit. If you will just do these things, which are all versions of mediocrity, then you will be something great. And we do it. A lot of us, we do it. And then we realize that there ain't shit great about it. And the only thing that gives some of us some sanity is if we look at the people who barely graduated or only got a GED or who don't have the job or who have welfare or who are unfaithful with their religious duties and commitments to the church and who were only average when they were in college. And when we do that, that's because we're comparing ourselves to something to give us some pride. But there's always this moment when you face reality and you look at your life and you're not content and you know that you could be doing something different, something better. And instead of mediocre, you could be doing something extraordinary. And turning on that switch is one of the most powerful things that any person could ever do. And it's one of the things that leads many down the path of entrepreneurship, realizing that you're a game changer, that you're maybe not going to change the whole world immediately, but begin in your family and your community and your local cities and your states and your country. And then before you know it, you're global. But going on this path means that you have to rewire, erase, eradicate, regroup. I mean, just go ahead and put all of the terms that you can think on the process that you're going to have to go through in order to get to this destination. And every time you think you're patient enough, every time you think you're strong enough, and every time you think that you've got everything under control, there is something that is going to occur that will test every fiber of your being. It will make or break whether or not you stay in it for the long haul and whether or not you make up an excuse to disappear and to come back. And I want to talk about this because it's real. It's really, really real. And I teach mindset, empowering women to have a very fortified mindset, not just giving them cheerleading conversation and not just telling them that they can make it and let them rest and reside and, oh, I got a coach who says that I'm the shit. No, like literally causing them to think, rewiring their minds so that they are fortified, so that the day when I am no longer in their life because they have moved on, I have moved on, we are both still maybe in the same space, but our time together in that relationship has expired, that they are strong enough to go on without me. That is my intention. That is why I am here. But the crazy thing is, in order for me to do that, then that means that I have to actually live, sleep, eat, breathe, sweat what I believe. And I know what it looks like. And every time I think I really, really know what it looks like, I get shown again that I've got to see what it looks like to not quit. I've got to see what it looks like to stay there even when everything around me seems to be in chaos. And I'm telling you guys, after going through a very, very, very strong tornado, yes, I had to make a determination that I would be in the eye of the storm. I had to make the determination with all of the chaos that was going on around me, I would be in the eye of the storm. I'm going to give you a couple of things, and here it is. When I get ready to say what I say, some of you may say, oh, that's nothing. And that level of judgment automatically means you're going to be set up for some shit. I have a saying, and it's struggle is struggle, and it knows how to hit all of us where it needs to and at the perfect time. Finances may not be one of your struggles. Your spouse may not. Your kids may not. Bringing in, your clients, whatever that is, it may not be your struggle. Oh, but trust me, there is something that will be more than just a pet peeve, but that will get to the core of your psyche and make you question what you're doing, or if you're good where you're at, expanding to do something greater. Because it is a natural inclination for a seed to bust through the shell in order for it to grow. So could you imagine throwing an event, having the time of your life, inspiring and impacting people, riding on that motivation, and then for 16 days straight, having something different happen every day, and everything keeps spilling over from one circumstance to the next. Imagine your spouse, who may be your core supporter, all of a sudden seeming like your arch nemesis. Not even 24 hours after enjoying that event, he goes haywire, says something, does something that makes you question his commitment to the dream. And as soon as you finish processing that, but it's still on your mind because it's bothering you, then the next day something happens with the kids. And then you begin to butt heads with each other because your ideology on what discipline should look like is very, very darkly different. And you didn't realize just how darkly different it was until certain behaviors and activities began to occur. And then imagine another situation unfolding with another family member that you love and that you admire so much. Then visualize someone that you care about and looking at them deteriorate every single day because they're losing their memory. And as much as you love them, they don't know who you are. Visualize multiple clients all seeming to be hit with financial calamity where it's only going to shift when they pay you by, anywhere from 2 to 5 days. But it's after the time when the rent is due. And visualize being so frustrated because every single day something more chaotic is happening because the kids are getting caught up in the energy in the home between you and the spouse and your attitude, and they're little and they don't know what's going on. And so they're acting out and wanting more time, but you don't have time because you've been so distracted by all of the bullshit, but you still got to produce and you still got to show up and you still got to build the dream. And constantly the anxiety is mounting upon you and building, and you can't just up and quit because you've got clients out there that are waiting on you, that need you, that you're there to serve, that are contracted, that have paid you. And then it seems like even though they have their own circumstances, all of you are in the same storm because all of these other glitches start happening where there's double building and billing and refunding that needs to go on and making sure that people are okay so that you don't send their accounts into overdraft. And then you're so out of it that you click the wrong link and you pay for an extra month in advance for rent. And it just keeps coming and going and piling. And then you call the bank and you can't seem to get a rational person on the line who will say, oh, let me stop thinking about all of these systems, processes, and policies, and let me help navigate through this with you, and let me do these things for you, instead of saying this is the most that can be done. And we all know that there are always exceptions to the rule, or better yet, the apartment complex that you live in, knowing that you've never done anything like that, but telling you, hey, babe, once you make the payment, then the payment is stuck. And then you're sitting here scrambling to try to call people or to stop different things that are automatically withdrawn from out of your account because you like paying things when they're due and you like them to just be automatically deducted. And you see a whirlwind of crazy ass overdrafts coming at you all at once. And when shit like this happens, you can find yourself somewhere wanting to ball up and die, ball up and quit, frustrated, not wanting to be around anybody, despising the very thing that you love, because anything that pulls from you or craves you or needs you at that moment is your enemy, because the only thing you want to do is to breathe. Yeah. And see, these are the kind of things that I know other women go through. And you can find yourself sitting there saying, but what did I do? Because I pay everybody on time. I honor my debts. I'm very focused and loving and aspire to be the best mom or wife that I could be. And I've already been spreading myself too thin and trying to spend quality time with the kids and with my husband and making sure that I'm being there for my clients, but even being really good about maybe binging on a TV show or two for myself and getting a massage. Where and why? What went wrong? Yeah. And there's a version of that story, if you were here right now, that you would be feeling the exact same thing. But my question for you is, will you quit? Will you quit? I've told people over and over and over again that I refuse to be a hypocrite, that I would not ever do the opposite of what I speak, because more is caught than taught. And so sometimes you do have to reset. You do have to rewind. You do have to sit back. You do have to pause for 2 seconds and say, where is the chaos coming from? And get more deeply seated and rooted in your soul and say, wait a minute, what does this all mean? Let me get beyond what I'm seeing, thinking, feeling, touching, tasting, and go into a higher level of consciousness to say, where and how do I need to evolve? Where do I find peace? When do I get away from the distractions? Where do I do what this thing is in the Bible that says, cast down vain imaginations, because we're walking in the flesh, but we're not warring in the flesh. We are in a higher state of consciousness, and we're connected to a God that's all powerful, to a universe that is abundant. And because we are purposeful and we are full of good intent with what it is that we desire to do, what in the world does this all mean? And how in the world could this really be a benefit to me? What does it really mean when it says that everything is working for my good? What good can come out of this? And that is the place that you have to go to heal, to rebound, to reevaluate, to look at what needs to change, what needs to grow, what's time to be pruned off versus, what do you need to do? And so the reality of it is this. Yeah, baby. I want you as successful as you possibly can be on this journey. I want you to make as much money as you can. I want you to serve as many clients as you desire. I want you to write as many books as your fingertips will let hit the keyboard. And I want you to show up, and I want you to show out, and I want you to be a world changer. But I want you to understand that many of you that decide to do this need to understand that the ability to really truly do that is going to require you to not stop when it gets dark. Don't stop when it looks overwhelming. When everything around you is telling you that you've done enough, it's time to quit because this shit is getting too intense. You have to remember why you started. I tell people all the time, never forget why you started. I didn't start coaching because I had a great epiphany that this was the most awesome way to be able to make money. And that also teaching sales would be one of those phenomenal ways in which I could easily navigate people to my funnel and say, hey, I can teach you how to make more money, so you should spend with me. No, I began this journey because it is my intention to help people get back their control. It is my intention to help people walk back in the fullness of the life in which they were created. It is my intention to restore women to a very divine, higher level of thinking and power, because we are needed in order to change the world. And for that reason, I can't quit. Oh yeah. See, you guys know me. I'll tell you hypotheticals with my clients and I give you real life solutions. But those things that I just told you about, those are all a part of my pattern. A season I've had to press through. This is what qualifies me to talk to the woman about still standing, still being there. And instead of being embarrassed or haunted and upset and pushed over and cast aside because of things that have happened that I cannot control, I say, fuck that shit. I will not let anything that's outside of me deter me from that reason for which I'm supposed to be here. Well, damn it. When I don't feel like going and I want to quit, it's going to become a podcast. When I don't feel like going and I want to quit, it's going to end up turning the pages of a book. When I don't feel like going and I want to quit, it is going to be me looking my client in the eye and saying, how dare you say that you're going to quit? When my struggle of my highest degree hit me, I did not, and I cannot allow you to either. Because I'm no better than you. You're just as great as me. So you're dealing with your greatest challenge. So now I need you to stand up in your greatest capacity. Believing and knowing in all things inside of you and outside of you that everything is working for that greater good. So yeah, I would love to tell you that if you could just think about what you want to bring about, and if you could think more about what you want instead of what you don't want, that you can get it and you'll have it. But to do those things, it takes a conditioned mind. It takes a conditioned spirit. It takes a dedicated conscious soul. It takes a higher degree of consciousness. And so, yeah, I want you all to beast out your dreams. Yes, I want you to show up. But I said it on another podcast a couple of weeks ago. I need you to be just as concerned about your spiritual being as you are about your financial being, your mental being, your practical being. I need you to fortify your spirit. I need you to operate in your soul power to make sure that when these things come, you come back with force, positive force, light force that will always override darkness. We're not proving anything when we stand when everything is going fine and dandy. We are living in a world where hope is needed. It's imperative. But you can't show hope. There's no need for hope where everything works out all right. The need for hope is when you're being challenged. I encourage you all to stand. I encourage you all to keep on going. Make sure you don't let your dream die when it gets dark. Thank you for joining me today. Remember to cultivate a mindset that is biased towards taking action. No bitching, whining, or complaining. Here, our mantra is, real women don't bitch, we get shit done. See you next week as I continue to bring you what you need to keep your head in the game and beast your business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Would you like a specific topic covered? Have a question you would like answered live? Then head on over to realwomendon'tbitchpodcast.com. Subscribe to my email list, hit me up, and I got you. Interested in being a guest speaker? You walk the walk? Then you can sign up on the website too. This is your #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs, Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. Signing out. Deuces.
Inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar.